there was such a siege, over my life that nothing really was working. I started crying. I was crying. I was stranded, nowhere to go. My children were at school. And then I was really crying. I have been very financially stagnated. I'm sorry, I might be a bit nervous because I'm not very used to camera. So in 2020, I came back here to bury my dad, my father, and afterwards went back to the UK where I'm based, and things just went down. Everything was just stagnated. There was such a siege, over my life that nothing really was working. So at some point, I came across NSPPD on not social media. God just brought it somehow. And I started joining. I became very strong in 2023 and consistently following. And then 2025, fast forward to 2025, let me go back a little. In 2024, there was, some strongholds, everything was just like pressure, but God intervened. Intervened, and then my spirit was sharpened, my discernment was sharpened, and I began to see what was wrong, and I started to pray seriously on the altar. And then in 2025, I joined the 6 to 6 fasting and prayers, 21 days fasting and prayers, and then God came through. So towards the end of the 21 days fasting, the word of knowledge came from our Papa, and it was like, before then, there was, where I was living, they've issued them an eviction notice to leave the place. So anyway, I just put it on the altar of fire, and then I was praying for God's direction. And then the word of knowledge came towards the end of 2021 fast. And then Papa said, I can see you in the rain. You are crying, you are stranded, you are homeless. So, I mean, like everybody, he said, let it be reversed. He prayed over it. And like everyone, I just said, amen. I wasn't thinking of anything, out of the ordinary. So at the end of the day, I went to the housing officer. And then there was this lady, mind you, back then I'd gone to, the housing unit previously, 10 years ago. And there was this lady that was like, like a stronghold. She just saw me at the time I had my first baby, and then she refused me, insulted me. I cried my life out that day, and I left there, and I said to myself, I will never go back there. I'll walk and then, just be praying to God to lead. So when I took this eviction letter from that was issued to my people, I took it back to the housing unit and then the housing officer. And then there she was again, this lady. She was the one that, was seeing me that day. And I said, oh no, I don't want her here, So I went to meet her, same thing, same attitude, same behaviors. And in my mind, I was just saying, Eroy, there's nothing you cannot do. So, and then she was requesting for some documents, this and that. So I left. I said, okay, I will go back and get the documents. So I went back to the house. And by the time I got to the house, mind you, this was about 2 or 3 days after Papa has declared that word. So I went back to the house and then tried to get in. The door was locked. I couldn't get in. I checked the keys again and again, it didn't work. So I went outside to call the agents for the house, and I was saying, the door is locked, I don't know what's happening. They said they don't know me, that, my name is not in the property, so who am I, and why am I there? And that was it. And I told them, this is where I live here with my children. They did not listen to me. And I started to argue with them to, explain myself. They did not listen to me. And it was so frustrating. It was like they were using it to, like they were enjoying what was going on, that I'm not being granted access. And at that moment, it started to rain. And it was really pouring. And I was in my car. I sat in my car. That was where I was making the phone call to them. And they refused, to let me into the property. I told them where I was coming from. I told them what was the issue. They've issued an eviction notice to the people in the house, and I need to move my things. I need to pack my things. They did not listen to me. So I started crying. I was crying. I was stranded, nowhere to go. My children were at school. And then I was really crying, And then my mind just went back. I said, I see. So that declaration that was made on the fire altar the other day was for me, even though I didn't know. But I took consolation that, the word has gone ahead and God was with me. So after all said and done, there was this, God intervened. There was this lady that showed me, she was compassionate. And then she took me and my children and lodged us in a hotel. And then the following day, I called the agent again, and then they gave me they gave me access to the building. After the prayer altar in the morning, I prayed so hard, and I prayed to God to remove that woman, the lady that, was a stumbling block from the beginning 10 years ago. So I prayed so hard that morning. And then when I came back, my children had gone to school. They didn't even change. What they wore the previous day, they didn't change their books because it was locked in the house. They had to go to school like that. So I came back, and then I went to the house. And then luckily, because Roy has shown me mercy, the word had gone ahead. The landlord agreed that I opened the door, I picked some few things, I take the documents I want to take, and then we can arrange for a later date for me to move my things. And that was what happened. So I took my documents, I went back to the housing office, and then luckily, I don't know how Roy did it. That particular woman that was supposed to be the office officer, God blew her out of my way. And God brought in another person, a lady. She just saw me, and then she was just helpful. She was just like, oh, what's the matter? And then she read through, the things they've written down. And then she said, she spoke to her manager, and God just intervened. And before you knew it, I was given a house that was better than where I was coming from. So God just, Roy just did it miraculously. The lady that was a stumbling block 10 years ago, God flung her away, because the words were always coming on the altar of fire, and I always tapped in. So the highlight for me was that because Papa said you will go ahead, you will be stranded, and it really happened. And that was what, shocked me, because I wasn't expecting that word was for me. And and after that time, things just started happening. After I've relocated, I've moved my things, I've moved into my new place. Things just started happening. Things just started opening. And then there was this contract I was praying to God for. Since 2022, I have my own business I'm doing. And it was also, part of all the siege. It was tied down. Nothing was moving. God gave me the skills and the talent and the knowledge. I got good feedbacks, but I couldn't get a contract. So I was putting it on the fire altar. And then all of a sudden, from 2022, I was praying to God. I said, everybody keeps saying on Pastor Jerry's birthday, they got their gift. I said, so this time is mine. So it was coming to August. So I said, I need my own testimony for Pastor Jerry's birthday. And God being so kind, a Roy that saw me. Before you knew what was happening, I received an email, and that was the contract. They've issued me a contract to provide services for the local authority, partnering with ICB and NHS. So it's quite big. I'm so grateful to God. And I said to myself that I made the vow that I was going to come to this altar to give my testimony and to encourage all those who are, waiting on Roy. Don't give up, because Roy says, I don't know Pastor Jerry from Adam. I don't know, I've never met him, but he saw me straight away. And, God used him to break that siege. And by the grace of God, things have been working for me. Roy, thank you.
NSPPD, celebrate our God.